In this lesson, we're going to take a look at the display settings and make sure that the way that that content type displays is logical. Let's take a quick look first at the sample event node that we've created here, homemade baby food. We see the title, and then if I scroll down, we have a bunch of text about the event. And then we have the image field, which has a label on it that says image. This is unnecessary and looks a little bit unprofessional. If I continue scrolling down, we have the key information for the event, webinar link, phone number, and event date, displayed at the very bottom. This is all incredibly valuable information that should probably be displayed at the top of the event, not the bottom. In order to fix all of this, we need to edit our content type and manage the way that our content type displays. So now we're going to head over to the content type itself, find the event row, and under Operations, choose Manage Display. We've already done some display management on some of the existing content types, so we already have an idea of how this works. But we're going to go through it again just to make sure that we're very comfortable with how managing the display of our content can be controlled in this form. The first thing that we're going to do is set the order and field labels on our content within this node in an order that makes sense. So the first thing is I would like to have the image at the top of the list here. I also don't want a label on the image, so I'm going to hide it. Scrolling down a little bit here. The next thing I want after the image is the event date. And in fact, I'm going to change this. I'm going to move the event date above the image because the event date is the most important piece of information here. I'm also going to change the label to be in line so that you see event date colon and then the date itself right next to it rather than one on top of the other. I'm going to move links down to the bottom because that's only relevant for administrators. And then we can go ahead and leave webinar link and phone number at the bottom, but I'm also going to make those labels display in line rather than above the content. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then we'll go to our event node and reload it. So this has made some immediate improvements on the way that our event displays here. We have the event title at the top still, and then we have a date right at the top, right where it makes sense. Next we have our image, but no label that says image, and then a description of the event. At the bottom, we have the webinar link and the phone number, and they're displayed in a way that saves space and is very easy to look at. The next thing that I want to do is take a look at the way that the teaser displays for the event, because we're probably going to use teasers a lot for lists of events. A very quick way for us to see this is to promote this particular event to the front page, because the front page is showing teasers for all of the content on that page. So under Promotion Options, I'm going to click Promoted to Front Page and then save this particular piece of content and keep it published. Now if I head over to the front page of the site and scroll down under the sticky items, we'll see this event listed. This is not a very helpful listing for this event because it doesn't tell us when the event is happening. It doesn't give us anything about the webinar link or any other really good information. It also doesn't display the image, which would be really nice to see here in this teaser because we do have an image on this piece of content. Okay, so we're going to go back to Manage the Display. And we're going to flip over to the teaser tab here so that we can set the way that this particular piece of content displays in teaser mode. Scrolling down here, we'll see that right now all that displays are links and the body. The body is set to summary or trimmed, which is good. In a teaser, you don't want the entire node, you just want the summary. The other items that we want here are the image without a label, and we also want the event date. And in this case, I'm going to put the label in line. I want to use my 12-hour clock display here. I'll update that. And I also want the image to display much smaller in the teaser. I don't want the big original image that we're looking at when we look at the node, but rather a very small version. So I'm going to click on the settings here, and I'm going to choose thumbnail. I'm also going to set the image to link to the content. Remember that this is a teaser, so this is a listing somewhere else and not the full node view itself. Users are often tempted to click on pictures when they're associated with something that might give them more information. So in order to help the user along, I'm going to let them do that by linking the image to the content. We'll update this and then save this. Now if I go back to the home page and reload this, I immediately have something that makes a lot more sense. I have a little thumbnail image, and I'm seeing the event date right there, which is really helpful. Notice that the image is not the same size, however, as the images on other nodes that have images here. Scroll up here. So I chose the thumbnail display, and the other nodes that are being displayed are showing the medium display. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. Over here under Manage Display, I'm going to find the image, click on Settings here, and change thumbnail to medium, and update. Save this, reload our homepage, and we will see immediate changes. So now this looks like the other content, has the correct size image, and notice that when I mouse over the image, it's clickable, and if I click on it, it will take me to the node for that event. It is also very valuable for your upcoming events views to have RSS format available to them because RSS feeds allow for syndication of the content. A great example would be having your content, especially your event content, automatically post to Facebook without you having to go into Facebook and tell it about an event. You would need an RSS feed or some kind of a feed available in order to do this. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that we have an RSS feed display for our event content type. I'm going to go back over to Manage Display, to the Default tab, scroll down to the bottom, and under Custom Display Settings here at the bottom, I'm going to enable RSS. Save that. And now I have a new tab here for RSS. Scrolling down here, it's taking everything from the default display. So there's not a lot of work that I need to do here, which is very helpful. I am going to disable the image because I don't necessarily need that in the RSS feed. Although if I were using this to automatically post to Facebook, I probably would keep the image in there. And everything else I'll leave as is. I can go ahead and save this. And now I have an RSS display. So our event content type here now displays in a logical way. The event date is at the top, the image is nice and doesn't have a label, and at the bottom we have the webinar link and the phone number displaying nicely. On the home page, we're seeing a teaser for the event that looks like the other teasers on the page.